So again, the topic is about foreign exchange market. Mhm. Okay, so firms with cash flows from buying or selling of products or rendering services with another country are transacted in a foreign exchange market. So events and movements in foreign financial markets can affect the profitability and performance of the firms in one country. So firms with only operations still face foreign competition. So for example, a Philippine resort competes with other countries' resorts even though the Philippine firm has no foreign operations. So if the peso strengthens against the US dollar, the cost of coming to the Philippine resort increases for Americans and can reduce the number of foreign investors at the Philippine resort. So definitely it will affect also us, no? Even if we do not have foreign operations. Kasi chances are, like in our example na given, syempre if you are the American, you look for other venue or other place to go to, no? Na pumunta ng resort. Maybe you can go to Thailand, no? You can go to Indonesia, no? In mga popular places also, or in Malaysia. That is if the Philippine currency is strong against the dollars. Kasi yung dollars, lalabas, they can use more dollars if they will go to the Philippines. Kasi yun ang Philippine currency nag-appreciate against the US dollars. So US dollars now can buy more of their dollars. So ganun siya, di ba? And then also yung foreign exchange market when it comes to buying or selling of products. So let's say for the buying of products. So syempre if you buy, let's say, materials, let's say, or products from other countries. So we have to pay for dollars, di ba? Okay, yung other currency. But let's say dollars. So there's a demand for the dollars. Tama ba yan? Kasi we are to pay for the products that we will buy or materials that we will buy from other countries. So in that case, the Philippine currency now, since the demand for dollars to pay for the product or the materials, lalabas sa atin yung Philippine currency, yung peso. So this time, pag pumasok sa forex market yan, o sa foreign exchange market, there will be more supply of peso. Diba? There will be more supply of peso. So what will happen if there is more supply of peso? So the value of peso will now depreciate. No? But since you're now demanding dollars, and then you bought already the dollars, and then already supplied to you the dollars, so there will be lesser dollars in the foreign exchange market. So if there are lesser dollars in the foreign exchange market, then the value of the dollars now will appreciate. So yung foreign exchange market actually nagpo-function din siya na parang supply and demand. Hindi parang, kundi supply and demand. So if we supplied so much Philippine currency, then the value of Philippine peso will decline. And then since there is more demand for the dollars, then the price of that foreign currency, the dollars, will appreciate. So it's a matter of supply and demand also. So if a country imports more than they export, the supply of that country's currency in the foreign exchange markets will exceed demand for the country's currency, and the value of the currency will tend to fall. So that was the one I was trying to explain a while ago, no? Pagka nag-i-import tayo, magsusupply tayo ng currency natin, peso, because we will pay for the dollars. So since we supplied peso in the forex market, then the value of peso will decline. But because we demanded for other currency, in our example, dollars, so dollars now will appreciate. Kaya during Christmas season class, tignan nyo, ang value ba ng peso natin pagka Christmas season, mababa o mataas? Na class? Pagka Christmas season, normally sa atin, sa Philippines, no? Pagka, pagka tawag dito, pagka Christmas season, ang value ng peso ba nag-appreciate o nagde-depreciate? Plus. Sige, Alaya.
Sir, try lang po.
Sige.
Nagde-depreciate po ba? Kasi marami po yung supply kasi madami naglalabas ng pera.
Siguro in some aspects, yes, no? But in terms of Philippine currency, let's say sa mga OFW natin, o yung mga remittances, di ba? Yan nga yung kaya nga lagi natin sabi, OFWs is the present hero. Di ba? Lagi sinasabi natin yan. The OFWs are the present hero of the country. Bakit? Because they are helping actually to appreciate, no, the peso. No, appreciate, tumataas ang value ng peso. Bakit? Because during the Christmas season, itong mga OFWs natin, they are supplying the dollars to the country. Remittances, no, coming from abroad. So nagpapadala sila ng dollars going to the Philippines. Kung nagpapadala sila ng dollars papunta ng Pilipinas, anong nangyayari doon? We have more supply of dollars. So we have more reserves, no, for the dollars. So in that case, the value of the dollars in the country will depreciate, but the peso will appreciate because we have more dollars. No? So kaya nga remittances natin, in-expect natin yan palagi, no, na tumataas every December, no? Kasi nga doon sa mga remittances natin coming from the OFWs. So during the Christmas season, normally the peso appreciates. Pero itong nakaraang pandemic, medyo nagkaroon tayo ng problema dyan because many of our OFWs returned home, di ba? Noong 2020 at saka ano pa ba? Pandemic naman, wala pa noong 2019, 2020. But many of our fellow Filipinos coming from abroad, no, they were not able to remit dollars. Many of them was not able to remit dollars. Kasi yun nga, di ba, nagkaroon ng pandemic, nagkaroon tayo ng problema dyan. Tapos ngayon, may bago na naman class, di ba? May Omicron na naman tayo ngayon. Pabago-bago na yung mga Delta variant natin. Meron na tayong Omicron naman ngayon. And they say it is more fast to spread than the Delta variant. Kaya nakakatakot na class, ano? Tapos, baka next sem, mag face-to-face na tayo, di ba? Pero sana i-limit, no? Limit lang, wag naman talaga, ano. Kasi like for example, in the current times, no? There are around 7 European countries yata which are being banned now coming into the Philippines. Aside from, of course, coming from Africa, di ba? Di affected na naman tayo dyan kasi walang papasok masyadong dollars sa atin dyan, no? So anyway, let's have the international monetary terminology. So one, we have the exchange rate. So it is the price of one country's currency in terms of another country's currency. So halimbawa, Philippine peso at saka dollars. For $1, we need 50 pesos, no? To buy $1 US. So yun yung exchange rate. Then we have the spot exchange rate. It is the quoted price for a unit of foreign currency to be delivered on the spot or within a very short period of time. And also when you say spot exchange rate, when you go to the, let's say yung mga foreign dealers, foreign exchange dealers, meron kayo makikita na spot exchange rate, meaning that is the price for that particular day, no? And then we have the forward exchange rate. It is the quoted price for a unit of foreign currency to be delivered at specified date in the future. So para lumalabas, para pumasok sa isang forward contract because you are entering to an agreement regarding the forward exchange rate to be used in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, no? And then we have the fixed exchange rate. So it is the rate set by the government and it is allowed to fluctuate only slightly around the desired rate. So when you say fixed exchange rate also, It is the government who will maintain that exchange rate. But the problem with the fixed exchange rate actually, class, is that the reserves, the reserves that we will have will be affected by this fixed exchange rate. Pagka nag-depreciate yung currency natin, natural, okay lang yung natin, foreign reserves natin. But if, let's say, the peso depreciates, and let's say the government do not want to fluctuate the exchange rate on that, then they have to release dollars. So madideplete yung natin, yung reserves natin pagdating dyan. So that is one of the disadvantages of the fixed exchange rate actually. And then we have the flexible or the floating exchange rate. So an exchange rate not regulated by the market. It is the market that determines the currency's value. So yan yung may based on the supply and demand. So dati ang China yata or Malaysia, parang ganoon. Fixed pala sila. Dati fixed sila. Ang flexible, sino ba mga flexible dito? Hindi ko maalala kung sino mga flexible. Pero right now, actually, ang Philippines is a flexible. Philippines pala is an example. Kasi we are determining based on the supply and demand. And then we have the devaluation or revaluation of a currency. It refers to the increase or decrease in the stated par value of a currency whose value is fixed. So dati yung China, ganyan siya. China and Malaysia yata before, but because their currency depleted a lot, I mean the reserves that they have, the foreign reserves depleted a lot. So the reason why they value their currency instead. Kasi dati mataas ang value nila, bumaba siya against the dollars. Pumayag na siya magpa-devaluate, because of the dollar reserves are depleting. And then we have the depreciation or appreciation of a currency. It refers to the increase or decrease in the foreign exchange value of a floating currency. Changes are brought by the market. So when you see market yun na yung supply and demand. So right now, Philippines is actually floating, floating or flexible. We are depending on the supply and demand in the market. Okay, now for the currency regimes, practically we only have two. Now one is the floating rate, and then the other one is actually the fixed exchange rate. Now for the freely floating, the government has minimal intervention to stabilize fluctuations. So example of this is Australia, Brazil, and the Philippines for the freely floating. And then for the managed floating, we have government has significant intervention to manage the exchange rate. So this time, there is a significant intervention. So ibig sabihin, pagka nagpa-fluctuate na siya, especially if their currency is depreciating, so they will intervene. Tapos ang gagawin nila, mag-i-issue ng forex reserves nila bale. So example of this is Colombia. Then we have the Israel and the Poland. Meron siya. And then the other one, we have the currency regime na fixed exchange rate. So under this one, we have the non-local currency. So it uses other currency as its legal tender or belonging to a group of currencies that shares a common currency. So example of this is Ecuador, Turkey. So they are using US dollars. So these countries, Ecuador and Turkey, they do not have their own currency like the Philippine peso, but they are pegging their currency to another country. So in that case, yung Ecuador at Turkey, they are using the US currency, which is the dollars. Then we have the currency board arrangement. So a country has its own currency but commits to exchange at fixed rate. So this one is may advantage, may disadvantage to ang fixed rate rin. Siyempre, kasi pagka nag-appreciate siya, so it will the local currency nag-appreciate, then it is an advantage, no? But if the local currency is depreciating, then chances are the foreign reserves of that country will also deplete. No, it will be depleted. So example of this is Australia. So Argentina, no? Argentina peso actually. No, meron tayong example dyan. Kasi di ba currency ng Argentina is peso also. So one example is the Argentina, no? Naka-fix pa rin sila. I do not know if they changed it already, but based on my knowledge, Argentina peso is fixed, not fixed rate. And then we have the fixed peg arrangement. So if the currency locks or pegs its currency to another currency or basket of currencies at a fixed exchange rate. So one example of which is the China, no? But before, China was pegged at the US dollars. Pero ngayon, parang nakapeg na siya doon sa weighted average of international currencies. So yung international currencies na ginagamit na, hindi ko alam kung ano, no? Yung weighted. Kasi meron din pala tayo tinatawag na weighted international financial currencies. So I do not know. So what are the components of that international foreign currency, yung weighted, trade weighted nila, no? But one country that peg also their currency to another country is Barbados, no? Barbados Island. So they are pegging it to the US dollars. Then another one is Bhutan's Bultrum, no? And they are pegging it with Indian's rupee naman, no? So ang dami rin palang klase ng regime, di ba? Kaya kasi sabi natin that two classifications for the regimes, dalawa lang, fixed exchange rate at saka floating rate. They have some sub-classification pa lumalabas, no? Okay, now let's go to the exchange rates, no? So this one, we have the US dollar to buy 1 unit of Japanese yen and Australian dollar. So when we use, no, this one is that we have not one, but US dollar to buy 1 unit of foreign currency. So ibig sabihin nito, it takes 0.009 US dollars to buy 1 Japanese yen. So for this one, it is 0.65 US dollars to buy 1 Australian dollar. So in that case, we are seeing that these quotations are direct, no? Direct siya lumalabas, no? Ito. They are direct quotations. When we have the US dollars to buy 1 unit of foreign currency, then that is direct, no? Direct quotations. So what about yung Philippines? Ano ba yung Philippines natin kung sakali? Tingin niyo ano siya? Ha? Class, tingin niyo ano? How much US dollars to buy 1 peso? Ha? Anyone? Kasi when we say 50 to $1, 50 pesos to $1, that is what? That is an indirect quotation. But what about direct quotation? Now that is the US dollar to buy 1 unit of peso. Can you tell me? So yung palang alam natin na 50 pesos to $1 is indirect quotation. So what is the direct quotation for the Philippine peso? Okay, 0.02. Okay, that's correct, no? 0.02. So that is 1/50. So pagka dinivide natin yan, lalabas sa 0.02. Okay? So very good, no? Sino yung sumagot niya kanina? Si Jana and Andre, no? Okay, that's good. So yun na madalas kasi nating quotations na ginagamit, indirect quotations, no? Not the direct quotation. So at least we know that that the 50 to $1 is an indirect quotation. Okay, so next. Okay, so calculate the indirect quotations for yen and Australian dollars. So if you will compute naman, no? So since this is a 0.009, ibig sabihin nun, $1 divided by 0.009 naman, no? So para makuha mo ito. So ulitin natin ha. So you have $1 dito all over 0.009. Yan, no? So this one is the dollars, US dollar, and this is the Japanese yen. So once you divide 1 by 0.009, you will get 111.11. And then for the Australian dollar, if you have the 1 all over 0.650, so you will get 1.5385. So what does it mean? So 111.1 to buy $1. So you need 111.11 yen, Japanese yen, to buy $1. And then the 1.5385 is it will take you 1.5385 Australian dollars to buy $1. So the indirect quotation represents the number of units of a foreign currency needed to purchase $1. So the indirect quotation is the reciprocal of the direct quotation. So binabaliktad lang natin yung numerator and the denominator. But actually, class, nakakalito siya, no? Nakakalito yung ganito. Ako, nalilito ako din minsan. Hindi pala minsan, madalas class, no? Aminin ko rin, kaya kailangan ko isulat. Okay. So what is the cross rate? So this time when you see cross rate, so yung example natin, di ba, US dollar, kanina yung yen, at saka Australian dollar. So this time we will get the exchange rate between the two. Now, but we can do that by getting first, no, yung they should have a common denominator. Siyempre, ang common denominator nila is dollars, no? So yan yung cross rate na tinatawag natin. So this is the exchange rate between two or any two currencies. Cross rates are actually calculated on the basis of various currencies relative to the US dollar. So they should have a common base before you can get the cross rate. And in this case, we use the US dollar. So US dollar naman talaga because this is the international currency that we are using. No? So the cross rate between Australian dollar and the Japanese yen is, we have the yen US dollar times the US dollar $8, no? Australian dollars. So we multiply. So ibig sabihin nun, for every yen, yen to a dollar. So bali, it will take 72.22 yen for a one Australian dollar. So yan yung ibig sabihin nitong cross rate na to, no? So 72.22 yen per Australian dollar. So meaning 1 Australian dollar. Now, if we will get the dollars to yen naman, no? Dollars to yen, then we simply divide. So we have the 111.11. Mali yata. Ako mali. Ito yung, bakit yun siya? Check out. Tama, pwede rin kasi, no? Kasi ginamit natin yung 0.009. Pwede rin. So 111.11 times 0.009. So that is $1 per yen naman, no? So it will take $0.0138 Australian dollars to buy 1 yen. So yan yung mga part na nakakalito, no? Kaya kung pagka nagkakaroon ng relationship. But the point is, it should be relative to one currency, which is the US dollar. Kasi kung makikita nyo, itong 0.65 na to, at saka 0.009 na yan, dito manggagaling. So, hanggang dito rin siya. Di ba? Okay? Ayan siya, ha? So, pareho naman siyang multiply. Di ba? Parehong multiply. Okay? Okay, so let's go to the one example pala. So, a firm can produce a liter of orange juice and ship it to Japan for 1.75 per unit. So if the firm wants a 50% markup of the project, what should the juice sell for in Japan? So since the this one, no, 1.75 per unit dollars, and there is a 50% increase, then 1.75 times 1.5, and then you multiply by 111.11 yen per dollar. So makukuha natin is 291.66 yen, no? So yan yung sagot bali sa example natin na yan. Kasi ito yung dollars, and we want to have a 50% increase, so kaya multiply natin ng 1.50. And this is the exchange rate, no? That is the indirect quotation between the yen and the US dollars. So you multiply that 1.75 times the 1.5 by 111.11. So we can get 291.66 yen, no? Naintindihan ba, class? Question, class? Question? Clarification? Hello?
Parang none so far naman po, sir.
So, okay siya. So, next. So, another one. No? Determining profitability naman tayo, no? So, the product will cost 250 yen to produce and ship to Australia, where it can be sold for 6 Australian dollars. So, what is the US dollar profit on this sale? So, first we have the 250 yen. Diba? Tapos meron tayong exchange rate bali na 0.0138. Saan ba natin nakuha yun? Sandali, ha? Ito lang. Wala tayong example na ganun. So, paano? Saan ko nakuha yung ano yun? Wait, class, ha? Australian dollars to yen. Meron ba tayong Australian dollars to yen? Yun. Ito pala, no? So, dito natin kinuha, no? Yung Australian dollars to yen. So, that is the cross rate between dollars and yen. So, hindi ko na ilagay dito, ya. So, we have 250 yen, then times 0.138, no? So, this one is the Australian, ito pala siya, no? That is the Australian dollars to yen. So we have 250 yen times 0.0138. So we can get $3.45. So yung 3.45, bawas lang natin doon sa $6 na given dito, Australian dollars. So we have 2.55 Australian dollars. Now, it is also possible to use the yen to Australian dollars. So ano ba yung yen to Australian dollars natin? Tignan ko lang, ha? Ayan. It is 72.22 naman yung cross rate. So, yen to Australian dollars. So, 72.22. Kung ang ginamit natin dito ay 72, no? 0.22. Ito kasi ay ano, 0. Diba? 0.0138. So if you're using the 72 point, sorry ito yan, buray natin. We use the 72.22. Ang gagawin naman natin dyan, class divide, no? So ibig sabihin ng 250 divided by 72.22. So nakukuha 3.46, 3.45, no? Na magkamali lang sa rounding off. Kasi Basta rounding off lang yung difference yung class, ha? So, makukuha rin natin itong bandang part na yan, 3.45. So, bali mangyayari ganito, class, no, to summarize it. If we're using the Australian dollars to yen as the cost rate, then we multiply. Kaya ito, yen times the Australian dollars per yen. So, multiply, no? Ito yung sign natin, multiply, no? Yan. But if we're using the cross rate between yen to Australian dollars, ang gagawin natin, divide. But you will get the same value pa rin, no? So, the same profit also for that one. Okay, maliwanag ba, class? Jana? May maliwanag ba, Jana?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, so maliwanag, ha? By the way, naka-upload to. Meron na kong binigay sa inyo kasi dati na PowerPoint, no? Pero I find it a little difficult when it comes to the formula. So I replace it. Ito na lang, no? Mas simple siya. Okay, so binura ko na siya para hindi kayo malito. Tinanggal ko pala. And then I replaced by a new one, this one, no? So kung hindi nyo nakita yun, mas maganda. Pero kung nakita nyo, we will use this PowerPoint because I sent one PowerPoint to you before, but I deleted it and replaced it by this one. Huh? Okay, so what is an exchange rate risk? So this is the risk that the value of a cash flow in one currency translated to another currency will decline due to a change in exchange rates. So yun yung sinasabi natin, halimbawa sa atin sa Philippines, no? 50 peso to 1. Eh okay lang sana kung maging 49, 48 to $1. Kasi nag-appreciate ang ating peso, no? But on the other hand, it is a disadvantage to US kasi from 50, naging 49 na lang, naging 48 na lang sila, no? But let's say 50 to 51, 52, so in that case, it will be a disadvantage on our part, but an advantage to US naman, pagka gano'n, no? But that is the exchange rate, the fluctuation in the exchange rate between countries. Now, what is the forward rate at a premium to the spot rate? So we have the premium on forward rate. So meaning less foreign currency can be obtained per dollar in the forward market than in the spot market. So I'm using the dollar because that is the international currency, huh? Per dollar in the forward market than the spot market. So the forward currency is more valuable than the spot currency. So meaning, for the premium, the spot market is greater than the forward rate. Now we have the other one, the discount on forward rate. Also meaning, more foreign currency can be obtained for a dollar in the forward market than the spot market. So the forward currency is less valuable than the spot currency. So in that case, spot rate is less than the forward rate. So tignan natin dito, no? So we have the spot rate for the Australian dollar and the Swiss franc. So this is the spot rate against the US dollars, huh? So that is against US dollars. So this one is a discount. Why? Kasi dito, mas mababa yung spot rate as compared to the forward rate. So ito yun. Diba? Yan yun. So 1.0745 is lower than 1.0767, lower than 1.0814, and 1.00881. So in that case, the dollars can buy more of the product or services of the Australian products. Malabas, ganun, no? So in this case, the value of the Australian dollars against the US dollars is actually depreciating. So meron siyang discount. Now this one, Swiss franc, so 0.8979. So we have 0.8976, 0.897, and then 0.896 for 30 days, 90, and 180 days. So this time it is a premium because the US dollars can buy more of the product or services of the Swiss products, no? Kasi mas mababa yung value niya against the dollars. Huh? ang pera. Tumaas pala siya. Sandali, 79, 76, 897.896, no? So pagka premium siya, foreign currency can be obtained per dollar. The foreign currency is more valuable. So ganun siya. Tama ba yung sinabi ko sa inyo? Kasi doon, tama, the US dollars can buy more from this one. But this one, they can buy, tama, they can buy less, no? For the US dollars, they can buy less in this case. No? Kasi, ibig sabihin nun, nag-appreciate ang value ni Swiss franc against the US dollars. So, baliktad kasi klase, no? Baliktad siya. So, if you're comparing it to the US dollars, tulad dito, 1.0745, 1.0767, tumataas siya. Diba? Against the US dollars. So, ibig sabihin nun, nagde-depreciate si Australian dollars against the US dollars. And US dollars is appreciating. So, ibig sabihin, they can buy more of Australian products. But this one, the Swiss franc, you have the 0.8979. So, dito, bumababa naman, no? 0.8976, 0.897, 0.896. Tama ba ako? 897, 897. Tama, bumababa siya, di ba? So, ibig sabihin nun, yung Swiss franc, nag-appreciate against the US dollars. So, the US dollars now, no, can buy less of the Swiss products or services. So, premium pala ang tawag pagka ganyan, no? So, yun na nga. Pagka premium on forward rate, no, the spot rate is greater than the forward rate. But if it is a discount on forward rate, the spot rate is less than the forward rate. Yan. Kaya balikan ulit ha. Kasi nakakalito dahil nga baliktad siya, no? Yun ang nakakalito sa exchange rate. Kung tutusin, no? Up and down lang ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. Pero nakakalito, parang katulad sa mga options din siya, no? May baliktaran na lumalabas. Ha? Okay, so what is the interest rate parity? So interest rate parity holds that investors should expect to earn the same return in all countries after adjusting for risk. So we have this formula. So we have the F subscript of T all over the E subscript of 0. And then we have the 1 plus the rate for the home, and then all over 1 plus rate for the foreign country. So yan yun, no? Ito yung kanilang mga ibig sabihin din. Okay, so interest rate parity. So they are more on to earn the same return after adjusting, no, for the risk. So example tayo. So suppose 1 yen buys 0.0095 in the 30-day forward exchange rate. And our nominal rate for a 30-day risk-free security in Japan and in the US is 4%. So the same lang, no? So the spot rate is 0.0090. Okay, so to compute for that, yung forward rate is 0.0095. And then we have the rate at home, and the rate for the home for the foreign is the same, which is 0.333%. So, ang tanong dito, nag-hold ba siya? So, ito yung formula natin. So, this is the spot rate. And then, sorry, hindi spot rate yan. Forward rate ito. Now, 0.0095 is the forward rate. This one is the spot rate. And then, this is the rate for the home. And then, we have the foreign. Palitad yata ako. Sandali. Tama. Foreign, home, at saka foreign, no? Home and foreign. Okay? So we have now, this is 1, syempre 1.0033 divided by 1.0033. So 1. So we simply multiply yung 1, no, by the 0.0095. So lilipat lang naman natin siya ron, di ba? So ang makuha po rin natin ay 0.0095. So for interest rate parity to hold, EO must equal 0.5 0.0095. But we were given earlier that the spot rate is 0.0090. So the interest rate does not hold. Kasi ang spot rate natin kanina, yung given, ito. Diba? So if the interest rate parity hold, dapat rito makuha natin ay 0.0090. But since this one, what you obtained is 0.0095, so meaning it does not hold. So meaning the return from one country to another country is different. Kasi it will only be the same if the computed spot rate here is 0.0090. Okay, class? Question? Question, clarification? Class? Sige, can I see raise of hand kung naintindihan? Sige, okay ha? Simple lang naman ang computations, hindi ba class? Kaya lang nakakalito lang siya, di ba? Sige, next. Okay, so what is the purchasing power parity? So when we say purchasing power parity, so purchasing power parity implies that the level of exchange rates adjusts so that identical goods can cost the same amount in different countries. So madalas ito ginagawa natin eh. No, kino-compute natin, no? Halimbawa, sasabihin natin pumunta tayo ng Hong Kong. Ayan naman favorite destination ng mga Pilipino eh, no? Hong Kong. So, pag pumunta ng Hong Kong, kino-convert natin yun to peso. Diba? Sasabihin mo, tapos no, kinumpare mo sa Philippine price yung isang laptop halimbawa, no? Umili ka ng laptop sa Hong Kong. Kinonvert mo sa peso. Iko-compare mo sa price dito sa Philippines. Sasabihin mo, ay, mas mura. Di bibilin mo na lang siya. Diba? Pero ang point ng purchasing power parity is, if you bought the laptop, for example, in Hong Kong, that price in Hong Kong is also the same price in the Philippines. So yun yung sinasabi ng purchasing power parity. The same lang siya, no? But if there is an advantage of buying that in Hong Kong, hindi bibili mo talaga kasi sasabihin mo mas mura. Pero pagka kinumpit mo naman at nakita mo yung price na mas mahal kaysa sa Philippine price, hindi mo siya bibiliin. Bibili mo lang siya sa Philippines, di ba? But if the price are the same, no, upon computing for the purchasing power parity, so it will be indifferent on your part whether you buy it in Hong Kong or in the Philippines. Okay, so we have the formula. So PH, which is the price of the good in in the home country, and then we have the PF, no, that is the price of the good in the foreign country, and then we have the EO, which is the spot rate. So it can be rewritten also as the spot rate is equivalent to PH over PF. Okay? Example tayo. Now, if the grapefruit juice costs $2 per liter in the US and the purchasing power parity holds, what is the price of grapefruit juice in Australia? So we know that the spot rate is 0.65, no? So by 0.65 na yun. No? Yung 0.65 natin, di ba? Okay. So we have the 0.65 Australian dollar, that is US to buy 1 unit of Australian dollars, di ba? So yan na siya. Tapos, so we have 2, then divided by 0.65 because this is the direct quotation. Direct quotation of US dollars, di ba? To buy 1 Australian dollars. So we have $2 divided by 0.65, so meaning that is 3.0769. So for it to have a purchasing parity to hold, then the cost must be 3.0769 Australian dollars. So pagka more than 3.069, ibig sabihin nun, mahal sa ano nga ba? Huwag natin pag-isipan yun. Basta ito, ibig sabihin yung price ng 2 per liter ng grapefruit sa US, the same lang sa Australian dollars pagka 3.0769. Pero yung pala yung point ko. No? Pagka lumagpas dyan sa 3.0769, ibig sabihin nun, mahal. No? Alam mo, naging 3.10 siya. O, ibig sabihin nun, mahal. Because you can buy that in US for $2 only. Tapos sa Australian dollars, nasa 3.10. So, mahal siya. No? Pagka yun ang price ng juice sa Australia. Kasi dapat ang maging price lang niya ay 3.0769. Ha? Nakuha na? Ulitin ko ha. So, you can buy the grapefruit juice costs at $2 per liter in the US. So, what is the price of that grapefruit juice in the Australia if the purchasing power actually is will hold? So, ibig sabihin niya, yung $2 na grapefruit sa US, dapat pagdating sa Australia, pagka bibili mo yung grapefruit juice is 3.0769. But let's say you went to Australia. Nakita mo ang price na ay 3.10 Australian dollars yan. So, ibig sabihin nun, mahal yung grapefruit na yan sa Australian dollars. Because for the purchasing power parity to hold, dapat yung grapefruit na bibilin mo sa Australia is only 3.0769. But if the price is $3.10 when you go to Australia, ibig sabihin nun, mahal yung grapefruit na yan. No? Pero kung halimbawa nasa 3. Ano naman siya? 3.05. Ibig sabihin nun, mas mura naman pagdating sa Australia. Okay, nakuha na ba yung class? Intindihan? Jana? Naintindihan ba? Jana Isabel?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, naintindihan na? Sige, next. Okay, ito na yata yung last slide natin, class. So what is the impact does relative inflation have on interest rates and exchange rates? So yung lower inflation leads to lower interest rates. No? Kaya pagka nagkaroon ng lower interest rates naman, biglang tumataas din yung inflation kasi too much spending. No? Like it's what is happening now in the economy, no? In US, in the Philippines. Most likely after the COVID, tataas naman yung inflation natin, no? Kasi they lowered the interest rates, and that is the effect of lowering the interest rates, too much spending. Diba sa US, yun ang problema nila. Kasi marami nagsaradong mga companies because of the pandemic. So what they did, they lowered the interest. And because they lowered the interest for a long time also, so this time, because of too much spending, ang nangyayari, tumataas na yung inflation naman sa kanila. At ang susunod dyan, tataas na rin yung interest rate na naman, no? So anyway, however, currencies in low inflation countries tend to appreciate against those in high inflation rate countries, no? And then countries with high inflation rate also has high interest rate. So bakit nagkakaroon ng ganon? So pagka nagkaroon kasi ng high inflation, to lower that inflation, no, they will increase the interest rate. So they will avoid borrowing. So pagka nagkaroon ng avoidance of borrowing, the interest rate now will go down because high interest rate discourage borrowing, di ba? Pagka nagkaroon ng discourage sa borrowing, spending will be reduced. Kaya ganun yung nangyayari. Okay? So that is the end of the lesson for foreign exchange market.